The question is what to do about it. What do you think, Tim? What would be like good sort of political hygiene for Americans to engage in with this knowledge? How do we use this effectively to have a more effective democracy?
Well, I think immediately any immediate political activism or electoral politics isn't the answer. Maybe something local, you can affect some change, but you have to start taking back the culture. That's sort of trying to break this Faustian deal that we make with technology. And that means just kind of not being so addicted to the little slave devices, not getting our kids addicted to them, and breaking away from the media and the cultural programming. It's mass communication. I mean, that's another study. Is the Cold War also brought in the scientific study? Well, actually predates it. I think you've done some research with the Princeton Radio Project and War of the Worlds broadcast.
Mass observation, these British, Tavistock kind of stuff that were before World War II and World War One. That's
mass communication and television. Geez, for Pete's sake, look what television did to the culture. And it reached saturation point in what 1960, and so there's an awareness that these are sort of diabolical devices, and it's cutting off on them. We're just not being so dependent upon them, and hopefully changing the culture. Have children. I know it's tough.
Well said. Yeah,
it's tough because the both male and female don't seem to be getting along too well, and everything in the culture, or at least in the media, seems to trying to aggravate those differences and make both of them irreconcilable, incompatible.
Well, absolutely. And then remember, we have had a 60% reduction in sperm count in the last 40 years. 60%. I mean, this is techno-genocide.
Yeah.
And the media does nothing to alert people about this. So, I think that to me, it's like 100%. I would agree with every single thing you said. I would say take really good care of your health. Make sure that you're not poisoning yourself. You avoid toxicity and just be aware of the general poison so that you're mentally and physically strong. You're strong enough to fight, right? And then after that, it's I've said this a number of times, like scratchy record, but don't be intimidated when the possibility for a subject discussion comes up. Enter into it. I'm a good example of it, and of course I'm completely ostracized and have no social life as a result. But I mean, it has been a complete disaster. But I have my dignity and simply no acquaintances. But in the future, other people, if enough of us stay this route and stay real with this, then it will become more able to discuss this stuff. And then ideas like the government was in back of 911, a secret society of crypto Masonic, nature runs the government. These people are puppets, because it's like, when people are interested in things like the Kavanaugh, debacle or the films about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, man, you can't get them to focus on anything that's real. You see?
Well, it's about as real as Tom Brady's deflated football, right?
It is. I mean, you've mentioned this before, and I absolutely agree with you. We're looking at a football game. Yeah. It's just it has the same reality as the football game. So get your head out of all of that. I'm very proud. Even though I was physically caught up in an anti-Kavanaugh demonstration, I was actually on the street and was swept up in it, that I really didn't have the slightest idea that he'd actually been elected. Because I just don't see, my goal is every day as I try to see how much of mainstream media I can avoid. I just don't participate. I think it's not good for my head. So I'm very careful even about the internet, about what I let into my mind. I do as much research as I can. I read a lot, but I am careful about who I let communicate ideas to me, and then I try to be as aggressive as I can when I think I have a reasonable thought or point that's I try to get it out. That's why our show is just such a physical pleasure for me. I know a lot of times I seem like I'm demented, but actually, it is a great pleasure to talk like this because it's just these are the real ideas that are inside of me, and these are not ideas you can express in normal conversation. You can not be intimidated and enter into conversation, but you don't really find, the conversations are awkward. This doesn't mean you can avoid them. You should not only avoid them, you should seek them out. Be bold, because this is how we can start breaking down the intimidation. We need millions of people who want to talk about these things and just won't be shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, and, it's a willingness to actually spend a little time thinking about it, actually reading instead of watching, television or trash entertainment and these things. And that's just, the moment you start exercising that, you develop a longer attention span and develop greater capacity for critical thought.
Absolutely, and
and also you find yourself just not craving popular culture anymore. It's almost like junk food. You stop eating it and you stop craving it.